Hi guys, welcome to another video. There are a few iconic bags in the luxury world. They have stood the test of time. They have gone above and beyond the trends. They have lasted. They are iconic. Which ones are they? Why are they so iconic? Why do we all still covet these bags? And why is there nothing quite like it right now? Let's get going. So we are going to start with the one and only, the most iconic bag of all time. Love it or hate it, this is the one. It's the Birkin, the Hermes Birkin. And yeah, trying to get this in the screen. This is the one. This is the Birkin 35 in black with gold hardware in Togo leather. And this was the bag that started all of this nonsense. Or is it nonsense with regard to iconic luxury bags? Honestly, this is the original size. It's absolutely huge. There's now obviously lots of variations, lots of other sizes, lots of other different types of Birkin, but this is the absolute classic, and that's why I wanted a Birkin 35. It's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's massive, but I love it. I don't use it half as much as I should, but it is going nowhere because it is an absolute icon. So what is it about this bag that makes it so iconic? Now, we could talk about the quality of it, the craftsmanship of it, and all of those things, but there are many other bags that are under the same category of being well made and beautiful, and just the quality behind them, the materials used. So what is it about this one in particular that has made it really stand out? Well, what you'll find as we go along with this video is all the iconic bags that we talk about have a few things in common to do with style and quality and craftsmanship. However, they all have a story. They have a story linked to them. And we love a story, don't we? As consumers, we love hearing about a story behind a certain thing. It gives us that sense of aspiration, or I don't know, we love hearing about the heritage of something or where something came from, and we like to repeat that story, and it just captures our imagination, doesn't it? And the story obviously about this one, behind this one, was Jane Birkin, where she spoke to the creative director of Hermes on a flight, and before we know it, the Hermes Birkin was born. And that was, I think it was in the mid-80s, so a little while ago, and it stood the test of time. It's become an absolute iconic bag. Just before we move on, the Birkin as well absolutely catapulted into stardom, not just because of Jane Birkin and the story behind it, but then the celebrities that actually idolised this bag, and it became the it bag, didn't it? And then there is the iconic scene in Sex and the City where Samantha wants to buy the Birkin and she's told it's not a bag, it's a Birkin, and it's just a phrase that's just stayed forever, isn't it? And it's just so funny and very tongue-in-cheek, but again, just the references to this has just catapulted it, and it is the worthy winner. Can't talk about the Birkin without talking about the Kelly. So this is my Kelly 28 Retourne in gris tan Togo leather, and it's with silver, or should I say palladium hardware. Now, the Kelly bag was actually called something else, and it's been around for decades and decades. But it was in the 1960s that I believe that Grace Kelly used one of these beautiful bags from Hermes to hide her pregnancy, and I think it just became an iconic shot, and it was known that she used this and she loved these bags, and they became known as the Kelly bag. So we love a story, don't we? We just think, oh, it's named after Grace Kelly, and oh, we just see the beautiful film star on the silver screen and all the rest of it. So yeah, again, it has a story of an iconic woman behind it. So there, it has become an icon, and it stayed as an icon all of those years. So we're talking, yeah, mid-60s, I think, when this was reborn and known as the Kelly. It'd been going way before that, but yeah, it stood the test of time, and it is still one of the most coveted bags in the world today, in all of its forms, We can't talk about luxury iconic bags without talking about Louis Vuitton, can we? And yeah, we need to talk about the Speedy. The Speedy has been around for decades. I think even from like the 1930s, I think it was first born, if you like. This is obviously a later version with the damier azur, but the damier bean and the monogram have been around for a long, long time. But it wasn't until I think it was in the 1960s where Audrey Hepburn asked Louis Vuitton to make her a smaller size Speedy, because I think these were more travel bags at the time. And so was born the iconic Speedy that we all now know and love. So again, it is a story behind it from an iconic woman of the times, a very beautiful, popular actress at the time, that has catapulted the Speedy from a travel companion to a fashion accessory. And it's never looked back, has it? It's always been in production since then. It's gone through lots of different iterations, as all of these have. This is the bandolier version that's got the crossbody. But yeah, absolute icon. And again, it is that female iconic figure, if you like, that has a history that's propelled this into the stratosphere. We also have to talk about Dior. So the absolute iconic Dior bag has to be the Lady Dior. Now, I don't have a Lady Dior anymore, but I do have a DJoy, which gives some perspective of what these bags are. And it's very similar, it's more of a modern version. But we can see that the iconic Lady Dior, the canage, quilting, the craftsmanship, the hardware, everything about it, the quality, the beautiful nature of it, you can see why it has stood the test of time. However, it catapulted from just being a bag into, again, being an icon, because Princess Diana, she loved the Lady Dior, and yeah, it got renamed. I think it was in the 90s it ended up getting renamed as the Lady Dior, and that was after Lady Diana Spencer, as she was back in the day, but Princess Diana. And again, a strong, iconic woman who loved this bag. There's no better marketing for any fashion house, is there, when you've got an absolute icon of a woman who wants to carry that bag. That isn't a marketing campaign. That is, and we'll come on to all of this, that is a genuine story of somebody who just loved the bag and wanted it in many, many colours. So an absolute icon, and again, an amazing story to go with it. And again, we just have to mention Fendi, don't we? I only have this version of the baguette, but it's a rather special one. It's beautiful. It's the Purple Rain. It's very, very, very funky. I absolutely love it. Why is this so iconic? Well, again, it was used in Sex and the City, and we had the iconic scene again where it's not a bag, it's a baguette, and it's just funny. These bags all have the same things in common. Not only the quality, the craftsmanship, the style, the design, because there's loads of other bags that could be in those categories. So why these particular ones? Why have these been catapulted into the iconic status? And the main thing, I think, is they have a story attached to them. They have a story that's a real life story. And it is no coincidence, is it, that the story and the person behind all this is a strong, iconic woman. And it's somebody that we usually can aspire to, and it just feeds the imagination, doesn't it? And it just becomes aspirational, and it just feels very organic that all these things are just things that we covered. So I do think the storytelling behind these is just incredible, and you cannot replicate this very, very easily. And I think it's no coincidence that all of these iconic bags are from quite some time ago. There isn't a newly released bag. There might be it bags that become trend driven and then they disappear again, and we've had a few of those over the years, but there isn't a new iconic bag that I feel is anything like any of these. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. All of these date back 1930s, 1950s, 1960s, the 90s. You know, the baguette, I think it's just had its 25-year anniversary. Was that last year? So none of these are bags that have just been in the last few years. I think the baguette is the most recent one of all, and that's 25 years plus. So why is it? Why do we not now have such iconic bags coming out? Well, I think there's quite a few reasons for it. I think that all the brands have tried to replicate these icons. Every bag they design, every bag they bring out, they hope will be the new it bag. They hope that it will capture the imagination and feed on that and catapult itself to something special. But it has to have the right elements at the right time, and I don't think that you can manufacture that. I think it's too forced. Yes, you can do great marketing and you can strategize it and all of that, but I do think that most of these have become iconic because of circumstance. I don't think any of these were a marketing ploy from the off. They've become iconic because of circumstance or somebody who has loved it, and you know, in effect, they've done the marketing behind the scenes for it, which is just a very different world now. I do think we have so many bags now as well. I think back in the day, it was very much you bought a bag, you used it, you wore it to death, you loved it, and then maybe you might buy another one years later. You wouldn't be buying multiple things a year. So I think we do overconsume now. I think we do have lots and lots more now. So there isn't going to be that one in particular real icon because there's so many creations and collections. I think it's just very different. I also think social media has made such a difference. If you think of the iconic photos of Grace Kelly or Audrey Hepburn, these will be things that will be in glossy magazines, and you didn't see so much of the world like we do on social media now. I think that, you know, you would buy that magazine and you would look through it and it'd look so iconic, this beautiful Grace Kelly with her, you know, she's just in beautiful clothing with her bag. But these were actual photos from an event that she went to. It's not a marketing campaign, and I think it's just a different time. And social media, where you can download things and people can be snapped with things all the time wherever they are, and it's on social media within a second. It's just overloaded with things now, and there's so many. There isn't going to be one icon anymore. It's just very different now. And I think the other reason why things are very different now is we live in a world of influencers, and I'm sat here on the internet, on YouTube, telling you about this. But all of these iconic women that carried these bags, these were not influencers. These were not brand ambassadors that were paid to market certain things, and it's a different way now. It's completely different. So Grace Kelly would have been dressed for her event and her stylist would have suggested wearing certain accessories, but she wouldn't be a brand ambassador where one minute she's, you know, flogging this bag and the next minute she's flogging that bag. And the influencer world is very different, so we don't aspire as much to, now I might get myself into trouble here, but this is how I see it, that for an iconic aspirational woman, we might look up to an influencer for ideas and trends and things like that. It doesn't mean we're not inspired by people, but it's very different to being inspired by somebody like Princess Diana. It's just completely different, isn't it? So we don't really have that anymore. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting how times have changed, but all those iconic bags are still iconic to this day. So you can't knock them, can you? Because we all still covet them. Anyway, let me know which you think are the iconic bags. Have I missed any? What do we think about the classic flap? Maybe I could have talked about that. Let me know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on another.